Hello and happy. Is it a Thursday already? Wow. I have some things I want to address from yesterday from the God versus the New Age. There were a few comments on the YouTube video, but there were a lot of comments on my Instagram post. And so I just want to talk about something that I find really interesting. So someone on my Instagram post said, "You cannot call yourself a Christian. You are not a follower of Christ." And I find it so fascinating that someone else thinks that they can tell me what I am. I know exactly what I am and who I am. And I am a follower of Christ. And I just love that people have the audacity to just tell anyone anything about who they are. I would never tell anyone what they are, what they believe, because truly everyone's experience is so unique to them and so their own. So I just wanted to start with that I want to share as much of myself on here as I can, but also I want to clap back a little bit when people just are so preposterous. But I there was such an incredible discord on Instagram specifically about this. It was so exciting to see so many people resonate with it. So many people. I would say the large majority of the comments, which there's several hundred on my Instagram post about this, about God specifically versus New Age. And I find it really interesting that the majority felt super resonant with them being very complimentary versus there were a few, kind of like, what Bible are you reading? You're not a Christian, which is like, that's fine. Everyone's going to have their own opinion, but I find it really beautiful that the overwhelming amount of people resonate with this feeling of there's a lot more crossover between religions, between different ideologies, Eastern versus West, and all those sorts of things. So I just absolutely love that. And it looks like we have a chat here. Where are my necklaces from? So I work with an incredible line of vibrational jewelry called Kate King. It is a jewelry line that is based on quantum physics. A lot of stuff in the new age part of everything, like we've talked about a little bit, can be intangible. Even Reiki at times, it's like you don't necessarily see it, you can feel the impact, but it's not tangible. And the beautiful thing about this jewelry line that I absolutely adore is that Kate King went through so much research of creating the line and creating the language, creating the science behind it. It's based on quantum physics, but essentially it's saying that we know that everything vibrates in the world. We can see this under a microscope. And the reason you can use a gem tool to kind of change your state of being is because it's the same reason they use it in watchers, scanners, because they're vibrating at a specific measurable frequency. So what happens when you put a gem tool on your body, because we're 70% water, we will actually match the frequency of this. Even though we feel dense, this is actually denser than we are, right? So you can literally change your stone and change your state of being. It's so amazing because Kate's team reached out to me last winter when I was living in England. And we'll definitely have to talk about England, but it was cold, it was dark, I was very isolated, I was in the countryside, I had a little car, thank goodness, but it was like always freezing and whatnot. And so I was definitely going through a bit of a depressive episode at that time of my life. And Kate reached out and was like, we would love to do a consultation, figure out your unique vibration, and do a content trade for a pendant for a post, right? So I was like, okay, great. So I get on with Kate, who created the line. She's the founder. She is just remarkable. She did this entire reading for me, and basically in the Kate King language, there is your soul vibration and then your physical vibration. So you have a consultant basically go through different questions and all these different things to figure out what your unique vibration is, and then that will help inform what elements they will put on you of a stone. But it's really about figuring out, like, what do you want? Like, what do you want to create? What do you want to enhance or change in your life? And then there's a different gem tool for each of those things. And so it's been really interesting because I just became a deep lover of the jewelry as a customer. And then when I moved to Nashville, Kate and I had become close, and she kept saying, I feel like you're a gem keeper. I feel like you should be working more closely with the gems. And finally, when I was stable and grounded enough in Nashville, I was like, I actually would love that. It would be really nice to work with something tangible where I'm not always the product because all of my sessions, all of my trainings, all of my books, like, I'm the product. And so I was like, it'd be so nice to help people and to serve people without having to be specifically the product all the time. So I've been working with it the last few months and it's just been incredible. I have like over 200 pieces of my personal inventory in my home. And then I do consultations virtually, but also in person. And I do jewelry parties and it's so much fun because I feel like my inner child is just like, wait, we get to just play dress up with these incredible jewels. This is a citrine today. It's what I had on yesterday too. Citrine just makes you feel, it's a fire element, so it makes you feel really confident, really powerful, really magnetic, and it just feels so delicious. I'm also a Leo. I have a lot of fire, so like I love fire. But it's really interesting how she created it was Kate King. It's a really long story, but I'll kind of give you a little bit of, since you asked, I'll give you a little bit of background on it. So she specifically was having some different thyroid issues and someone had recommended to wear pearls. So she was wearing like 5 strands of pearls, I think for like over a year, if not longer. And her eyesight started to go away. And so she went to, I think it was Brazil, and took all the jewelry off and like no one could figure out what was going on with her eyesight. It wasn't until she took the pearls off that her eyesight like came back naturally. So she said, wait, what is going on? Why can this person wear pearls, but then like the pearls have this really adverse effect to me? So she went to her dad, who was a really well-known psychiatrist in Canada, and said, like, I have this really cool theory about gemstones. And he said, you know, great, theories are great, but you better be able to prove it. And so she spent the next 5 years researching gems, researching how they're extricated, like the process of how they get them out of the earth is so important. Because if you think about it, like this tree behind me, this tree's alive, right? It was taken out of the earth with its soil, with its roots, and it's put into a pot. But I could just as likely like go out and cut off a branch and give you a branch and say this is alive, but it's dead, right? Because there's no root system, like it's been completely killed. And so she noticed that when she started to go into a lot of the gem stores that all of them weren't vibrating as high because they had been dyed, they had been overheated, like all the different processes or unethically sourced. All of those are going to affect the vibration of the gem. And so she did tests on thousands of people to figure out why she couldn't wear pearls and other people could. Like, what is that specific nuance to the gems? What is going on with that it's different? So she figured out in her own language by studying a lot of different modalities that everyone has a unique signature. Like I'm a fire wind, and to all my people that have done jewelry with me, like everyone knows what their combination is. And so it's really fascinating to figure out. I also am not supposed to wear pearls, and I have this beautiful strand of pearls that I bought myself years ago. And every time I wear them, I would get such a bad headache, and it was a choker. So I just thought maybe it's like too choky, right? But it just got to the point where I stopped wearing them. So it was interesting meeting Kate years later and her saying, oh yeah, like in this language, in this belief system, you shouldn't be wearing water element, which is really interesting. So it's become this really fun way to help support my clients. My clients, I know them so in and out that it's really great to be able to put on something that just helps. If you're in this world, like the self-help spiritual world, there is so much that we're all doing, which is amazing, but it's exhausting sometimes. It's a long journey that never ends, right? And it's like we're meditating and we're journaling and we're going to retreats and we're eating healthy and we're staring at the sun and we're, putting our feet on the earth and doing like a million things. And what I find so delicious about the jewelry is like I can just wake up and put it on and feel better. And I know that's kind of a wild claim, but it's true. I mean, I don't know if I would have gotten through England without my cognac sapphire back then. I wouldn't take it off. And it was kind of gaudy like this. And at the time I liked really minimal jewelry, like just really small stuff. And I remember telling Kate, like, I don't know if I want something this big. And she said, the bigger, this is something where size matters. It's the bigger the jewel, the bigger the frequency. And she said, I was like, yeah, I'll wear it like once in a while. She's like, once you feel how good you feel with it on, like, I guarantee you're never going to want to not wear it. And she was right. I had this like huge cognac sapphire that I was wearing every day in the English countryside, even though I was wearing workout clothes, even though it was freezing, even though I was like tromping through the woods and like doing all this stuff, I always had my cognac sapphire on. And it just was so helpful to me. So it's been really nice to pay that forward to other people. In Nashville, I'm kind of known as a jewelry concierge because I have people here that you get one piece and you almost start creating like a toolkit, because just like you can't make a house with like just a hammer, you need a plethora of tools. Once you feel how much your frequency changes with just one, for let's say you get your first one for like money, I guess, then you're like, wait, I want to get one for intuition. Oh, I want to get one for grounding. I want to get one for grief. I want to get one for love. Like, it's just so endless. So that's something I'm going to be doing probably in the middle of February. I'm going to come on here and be doing like a live shopping kind of like auction energy, because I work with a ton of people one-on-one right now, but I just want to bring it to you guys in a way that feels more fun. Every piece is one of a kind. So when I kind of show you guys like in February, I'm going to do like this cute self-love kind of thing. I'm shooting for February 13th because I think there's a lot of single ladies out there that would like some jewelry for Valentine's Day, and they should just buy it for themselves, right? So I'm doing this like self-love event, but it will all be virtual, but it will be really fun because everything is one of a kind. And so I'm going to let you guys kind of lead it, where someone says what they want in the chat, and then I'm going to find one in my collection that does that, read you the description, and then just show you like the 6 pieces I have in that stone or whatnot. And I'll send the link, or my moderator is going to like send the link, and then there's going to be one. So like whoever buys it first, it's like, then it's gone. So it's going to be this really fun kind of just like we might wear wigs and like, I don't know, probably a lot bright. We'll probably maybe do like in my living room or something, but it's going to be really fun. So that's something that if they are interested in the gems, that's something to look forward to. Of course, you can always like message me if you want to work one-on-one, but thank you, whoever, Jennifer, for asking about the gemstones. They have been such a delight. And it's really funny because I'm in my office right now and it's set up like a studio. And so I had a gem consultation earlier. And so earlier I had to like put all this stuff away and like create my other office. So there's a lot of movement going on here. But the gems are so fun. And the thing about Kate, the founder and the owner, she is just so remarkable and so in integrity that everything you're going to get is going to be ethically sourced, number one. We also do work with lab grown, and it's going to be a really high vibration. And I want to talk about lab grown for a second because I personally had a very different thought process with lab grown. I know a lot of people are like anti lab grown, but Kate explains it this way. When you have a child through IVF, that's a real child, right? That's a real human. It's a real soul that turns into an adult. But it's not happening specifically in a natural way, right? Like science has gotten involved to create this miracle, but that child is just as worthwhile and beautiful and whole and real as a real child. So that's how we look at the lab grown, because there are so many gem materials that are already mined out almost of the world, or everything that's in circulation is really low quality, or there's a lot of things that have been very unethically sourced. Like we all have seen Blood Diamond with Leo back in the day, like that blew all of our minds. And so the thing about a lab grown is that there's no inclusions. So it can be a really, really high frequency, and you can get sometimes like a bigger sapphire or something that's going to hold a much higher vibration because it's so large for a price that's more affordable. Like this is a natural citrine, it's still pretty big, but I do have a few sapphires that are lab grown. And I would say that pre-knowing this and pre-being in this kind of gem world, I was definitely like adverse to lab grown. I was like, no, I want natural. And then I just learned about it a little bit more. I'm a little more educated, and now I have both, and I can say quite positively that they feel the same. I have 2 yellow sapphires that I'm obsessed with, and those are both lab grown. Also, the cognac sapphire that I talked about was lab grown. And if you think about it, like I'm such a believer that everything is energy. And so the person that's like mining it, like what did they feel when they were like taking it out of the earth? What was the transportation process like? What was the whole process like is so important. So I have become really deep in this gem world, and it's been really fun because it was something I didn't really know anything about. For being on the spiritual path for 9 years, gems weren't something I went really deep into. I have some like collections in here or there, and I would get some, I had like an amethyst and like a citrine because they brought abundance, but that was kind of the length of my knowledge. It's been really fun to learn about it, but also just to see my students and my clients to see how quickly things have changed once I brought the gems into my coaching, because obviously we were already working with the Reiki, we were doing the coaching, but the great thing about the gems is it helps you embody the frequency of the teachings beyond just knowing it in your mind, because as we know, like you can know as much as you want, but unless your body believes it and feels safe to understand it, there's not going to be a ton of change in your life. And so it's been really cool to watch the change in people and my own, because I think I have probably 15 pendants now. I am trying to like take a break. I'm like, okay, let's utilize the tools we have. But then I get so many in, it's just so hard like to see shiny, beautiful things and not get more. But it's been really, really fun. And it's just another thing kind of looping into what we were talking about yesterday of like, these gems didn't create themselves. I mean, the lab growns, we create them, but we are mimicking Earth, right? Like the Earth is so exceptional. It is filled with, have you guys seen like those geodes with like an incredible stone where you say, this is literally just cracked open and it looks like that? Like that is in the Earth. And I feel like it's such a beautiful God that said, I'm going to hide this literal magic scattered throughout the world that can help you. That is such a cool way to look at it. And I feel like that feels so much more satisfying and beautiful to have a God that cares that much, that gives us this beautiful material, like literally beautiful, but also such impactful material that we can utilize. And it was only through, so many different cultures using them and measuring them and trying them out that we actually got to a point of understanding what they did for us. So I just find everything to be so intrinsically linked and so beautiful. I definitely got some comments yesterday with like witchcraft, and just like what Bible are you reading and stuff like that. And I just feel like to each his own, but I also am not going to judge what you believe. And so I just find it so funny that when you're really honest about something, people always come with not always, I actually had a lot of supporters, but I just want to open more uncomfortable dialogues on here, because I think the more that we can share our experiences, the more that you have a bunch of opinions at a table, the more everyone's going to learn. It doesn't mean that everyone's going to leave that dinner with the same belief or the same opinion, because that's not life. We all have completely different experiences, upbringings, like physical experiences. There's just so much difference between us. But I think the more that we can all talk about things that maybe feel a little bit sticky and make them more mainstream, I think that will really do everyone a lot of good. There's so much divide right now and things feel so heated at times. And I say this a little bit outside of myself, because my world is very peaceful. I specifically keep myself very protected energetically, because I'm working with clients all day, and every time I'm connecting with a group like you, like everyone who's going to watch this live or later is getting Reiki. So it's like you guys are getting all this Reiki, and every time I'm putting out content, like that's connecting everyone with me. And it's just such an interesting thing. But I feel like beyond that, I really pay attention to who I'm spending my free time with, because as we know from research, I think is it the top 3 or the top 5 people you spend the most time with, it kind of like averages out. So if you have like 2 really high performing friends and then like 2 really low performing friends, it kind of averages out to be like very mid. And so it's something I try to be really cognizant about, of who am I talking to? Who am I sharing my wins with? As a Leo, for my fellow Leos out there, we need exuberance. We need someone to be like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing, especially if you've put a lot of work into it or feeling really passionate about it. And so I know specifically out of my friends who to call with certain news, because I feel like I've got some friends that are really excitable. I have other friends that like nothing impresses them. And then I have other friends that are just, when someone's going through a hard time, it's better to respect where they're at and not try to like get a reaction out of them, right? So I feel like so much of life is just figuring out like what buckets people are in. I remember someone told me that years ago. It's like you're trying to have this friend be this type of friend, but they're this type of friend. And like it's up to you if you want to keep that type of friend, but like it's just more about real managing expectations of like what people can hold. Also the timing of things, like when you call a friend, you can tell they're in a bad mood right away and you're like, oh, now's not the time to share maybe some good news. But I just find it's really important to surround yourself with people who also challenge you and who also aren't afraid when you disagree. Because even though I'm very protected in my world of peace, I have a lot of people that I love that are very close to me that I have completely opposite views with on certain things. But because we're both able to be mature and to love each other beyond a belief, we're able to stay in peace and then just kind of decide like what we talk about, what we don't. I also have a lot of friends that agree with me on like a lot of things, but I just think we've gotten to a place of an unhealthy not listening to someone else's opinion. It's like, especially with the algorithms really make this so much worse because they are literally showing you what you believe over and over and over. So you start to believe that everyone believes what you believe. And that's really dangerous. And even I think there was this person on TikTok once who showed like a video that went viral and it showed like the comments she was seeing versus the comments her boyfriend was seeing because they have such different algorithms. They were completely opposite because it was some video about a guy and a girl, like I can't remember what it was. And that really blew my head off because I was like, we are literally being force fed the same so that each side of every debate, whatever it is, gets stronger in thinking that they're right because that's all they're seeing. And I think it's just really important to surround yourself with people who are well read, well traveled, well educated, but also just like well experienced. Like I have friends from all walks of life. It doesn't mean you have to be any type of thing. I just think it's important to make sure that you're broadening your horizons. And I find that deep conversation is, thank you for that. That I feel like you're probably very beautiful, Gaz 666738, but I appreciate the compliment. It's just so important for everyone to feel safe to be who they are and to feel safe to change their mind. I used to have some friendships that I felt like if I changed my mind, the friendship would dissolve. And it's like, that's not a friendship, right? So it's really important for everyone to feel really safe and to feel like they can have these conversations. The one thing that I loved about one of the comments on yesterday's video and a few of the Instagram comments was just someone saying that by me talking about my experience with faith, it gave them more clarity on how to talk to their friends about it that they feel judged by. Or one person in particular said that they were going to start using the word God instead of universe and spirit. And if that resonates, I think that that is beautiful because I know I had to personally get to that point myself. But that is really my goal here, is to just talk very candidly about things. And it doesn't always have to be something that feels heated. It can always be, I have a lot of knowledge in a lot of areas, but I also really want everyone to feel safe to comment and to join the conversation. I really want this to feel like a two-way conversation. And so on this, please let me know what you guys want me to talk about. As I said last time, I have something super exciting coming next Thursday, so a week from today. So after next Thursday, Mondays and Thursdays are going to be a whole different situation. This kind of free I don't want to say free balling, but that's the only word I can think of. This like free form streaming is only going to be happening on Tuesdays and Wednesdays moving forward. But I really want to make it interactive. I really want to bring your guys' comments and your guys' questions. And I kind of want to talk about something random right now, but there's supposed to be this big snowstorm this weekend in Tennessee, in Nashville. I mean, throughout a lot of the country. But it's funny because I've never experienced anything like that. And so many, like everything got canceled. Like all the events this weekend got canceled. My clients who were coming in for sessions canceled. Everyone's like buying generators and food. And it's so bizarre to me because this is something that is so out of left field for me. And I'm like, it's so sunny today. I like went shopping with my friend earlier and I was like, wow, it's gorgeous out. Isn't that so weird that tomorrow there's supposed to be this storm that's supposed to just like take the city out for 2 days? So that's going to be really fun to come back on Monday and tell you guys like what happened, if I even have power. I mean, everyone's talking about like not having power. So who knows what's going to happen, but this little Vegas, West Coast, California girl, I have no idea what's going to happen, but I know I have enough food and I just really hope that we keep power, because I'm pretty sure Bridgerton comes out this weekend, and that sounds like a great way to spend a snowy weekend. But I just want to remind you guys that I want to make this as interactive as possible. Comment, come live when you can, subscribe for more. I'm also going to be sending something out to you guys either tomorrow or Monday. I don't know about you, but I listen to frequencies all the time. Like, I have my TV in my living room. I go to YouTube. I put on, like, 528 hertz, 888 hertz, whatever it is. And I feel like they're always so corny looking. Like, they're always like a medallion or like a huge infinity symbol or just something that looks very digital, but also just very like not real. And then I love fireplace videos, but there's not a fireplace video like with a frequency. And so I've created one. I hired someone and I was like, I want to make this for me. And then I just figured I'd share it with you guys too. So that's going to be coming either tomorrow or over the weekend, just whenever I get it from my my graphic designer that's creating it. So it's going to have a frequency. It's going to be a beautiful modern fireplace in a beautiful living room, but I'm also going to infuse it with Reiki. So if you play it, it will basically be filling your space all day with Reiki and the sound of crackling fire. So I'm super stoked about it. It took a while to get from where it was to where it is, but I'm really excited to share that with you guys, because I just feel like if I want something like that, I know there's got to be other people that want something like that. And I just feel like it's a really cool way to hear fire, have a beautiful frequency on that's raising the frequency, but then also filling your space with Reiki. I'm pretty sure I'm going to charge it with Reiki for certainty. I'm going to do that once I have to get the file first, and then I have to sit with it like in ritual and infuse it with Reiki. But I'm so obsessed with certainty right now because I'm really into David Guillaume, I think that's how you say his name. I'm really into his Kabbalah stuff right now. And it's all about the frequency of certainty beyond logic. Like, certainty above all things is the most potent frequency. At least that's how I feel in this moment. And so I'm going to infuse it with Reiki for certainty. So you can just have your house be filled with this delicious certainty, fire cracking, and all the things. I'm really excited about it. You guys can take it or leave it. It's going to be free on my page so you guys can use it. But I'm really excited about it because Year of the Fire Horse starts on the 17th of February. And I was talking to my feng shui expert yesterday that did my house, and we were just talking about like how it's going to be so fast. It's going to just be like a horse running out of the gate crazy fast. And so I want to make sure that my house just has like a beautiful frequency to come back to that feels calming, grounding, peaceful, all of the good things. So I'll be sharing that when I have it. Make sure to subscribe so you can stay